Hey, good morning. Welcome to Hobby Evolution, take two. But I think take two is going to be good. Got a pretty strong Wi-Fi signal, at least according to my computer. So I had some people in the chat, so I may have to stall here as they meander over to the new link. So hopefully they see. I know Jenny and Rich were in the live chat earlier, um, and I was getting some issues. There's John. What's up? That 70s card show in the house. Good morning to you. So I went to go live. Chat's up. Got my coffee. What's up, Herman? And boom, hit go live. And I'm getting the spinning wheel. And it says we cannot live stream is not available at this moment. What's up, Diego? I'm like, what? I'm like, oh, it's the stupid Wi-Fi, my internet. What's going on with my internet lately? And I mentioned yesterday, John is in Chicago. Yes. Enjoy. And I think you're heading back out today, right? View of Soldier Field. Here's my take on Soldier Field. I don't like it. I think it's an iconic stadium, but I want to see the Bears move out to Arlington Heights, partially because it's much closer to me. It's much more convenient Soldier Field, getting to Soldier Field and like parking and it's clunky, it's hard, it's difficult. Arlington Heights is a little easier, much easier for me because Arlington Heights is on the northwest side, so it's a quick jaunt for me, about 2 hours. What's up, John? Good morning. Let's see, John, I got your package. So my live stream was not working, and it says we can't go live, which I can't recall that message ever popping up. So I'm trying to like try again because I had people in the chat. Hopefully that link is like not. Hopefully they're not just talking amongst themselves in the other chat that went away. So I'm like, God, what's going on? I discovered my internet plague lately. Remember I talked about we had built-in shelving units put in upstairs? Well, that's where the is it a router or a modem, or are they one and the same? That's how dense I am when it comes to technology. The router or the modem, whatever it is. What's up, Turkey Cards? I was over there, hopped over here. Awesome. Good morning, Shaw. Router. Okay, so the router is upstairs. It's on one of the shelves. It was on one of the shelves we had built-ins put in a couple weeks ago, which is around the time my internet really started sucking. Now it's always kind of sucked because I'm in this concrete, room. But I went several months with no issues. Let's see. The Bears can't move until I've had the chance to make a visit. Need to go to some iconic stadiums before they all move on to the future. That's a good point. They're still like they're under contract. They're trying to get out. And it's going to be a while because the Chicago Bears just purchased Arlington Park, which is this gigantic swath of land in Arlington Heights, Illinois. So they just purchased it like within the last year. So, it'll at least be a few years, but they're under contract until like 2030 or 2035. So if they can't get out of the contract with Soldier Field in the city of Chicago, it's going to be, you're looking at another 10 years before they can move to Arlington Park. Let's see. The modem is the box from the cable company. Then you go to your wireless router. Okay. Perfect. Coax to router, Cat 5.6 out of modem to router. Awesome. What's up, Dan? So I'm getting the spinning wheel. It's the stream's not working. So I'm like, dang it. And I didn't go upstairs. What did I say I was going to do yesterday morning? I always forget. As soon as I get off here, I get another coffee and then I get to work. And I forget about all this stuff I say I'm going to do during the live chat. I need to write it down on my whiteboard. Like the last 10 Wander Francos, they still haven't changed. They're still selling for like 15 bucks. My exercise sucked. I'm going to have to write a date, Saturday, February, whatever it was. So I did not go up to the router yesterday. So my favorite football game outside of Philly was watching the Eagles play the Packers at County Stadium in '92. What an atmosphere! I was never at County Stadium. I went to Lambeau for the first time 2 or 3 years ago, and that was something else. Like, there's Jenny. We are all having a chat without you. That's what I thought. I mentioned I've been on here for about 5 minutes. I'm like, I hope they're not just still hanging out in the chat over there on the previous stream. So I'm gonna get to what happened here in a moment. I'm getting sidebars because I was hoping that you and Rich would jump over. Um, so when I went to Lambeau, it was so it's just it's hard to explain. Now, if you've grown up in a small town, so I grew up in a very small town, 800 people. We had our own high school, and the football field kind of on the edge of the town, in Anawan, Illinois. And when you go to high school, like everybody in town goes to the high school football game. You either walk to the game or, we have a big geography of where some people can't walk because they live way out in the country. Um, so people that drive park or visiting fans have to park on the streets, like in front of houses, like just on the side streets next to the high school football field. That's what Lambeau is like. I was like shocked and amazed. I was expecting parking garages, like a stadium. No, you like park on side streets, and Green Bay is basically just a big small town. I was shocked. Like Lambeau Field's really cool. Like there's some cool buildings around it. Like shops and restaurants, bars and stuff. But for the most part, it's just smack dab right next to a bunch of small houses in a neighborhood that looks like the small town I grew up in. And it's like you're going to a high school football game in the middle of nowhere, Illinois. It was really cool. As much as I dislike the Packers, I must admit I enjoyed my experience at Lambeau Field. And the Bears even lost. They played well though. I think it was the first game with Khalil Mack, because they had made that trade, and that was the season opener at Lambeau Field that year, whatever year that was, 2019, I think. Okay, so let's go back up. I'm going to tell you what happened with my internet and why it sucked the last few weeks. Dan says if your modem has 3 slots, you can use one cord from the modem to your PC for faster connection. Yeah, I was going to try it when I started working from home. That was like the first thing I was going to do, but then I realized I'd have to run a cord, like, cause my office upstairs is in another room. So that wasn't going to work. But I do have, so my upstairs office, I'm directly connected in the wall. There's a slot in the wall that I plug in. So I am directly connected upstairs. I gave them the heads up in the chat. Okay. There's Rich. Glad you got rebooted. Rich, I'm about to tell you why my internet sucked so bad. DR says we were all in Bizarro Bow World chatting with 2 million Cubs. I like it. I did not grow up in a small town, says Dan. Rich grew up in a middle-sized town. It's growing up in a small town was great because you really, it's a lot easier. And I say this coming from a guy who grew up in a small town. So I never grew up in a large town. So I don't have your perspective, but my perspective, in my opinion, is that if you grew up in a small town, I think it gives you a better perception of both large cities and small towns, because it's a lot easier to move out of a small town and into a large city as opposed to growing up in a large city and moving to a small town. It's almost like if you grew up poor, you have a better you have a better idea of the true value of a dollar, as opposed to if you grew up with a silver spoon, and then you became poor. It's a lot harder to adapt to being poor than adapting to coming into a lot of money. I feel the same with small town versus large city. It's a lot easier to adapt moving up from a small town to a large city as opposed to growing up in a large city and then boom, your mom or dad gets a new job and you move to a small town and you're in the middle of cornfields. And it's a true culture shock. And that goes both ways. I remember when I was a kid going to Chicago for the first time, and it's like, this is amazing. And I loved it. I loved the big city. I loved being around people. Um, you know, I loved the activity, but there's no way in hell that I would move to the city of Chicago. Now, I wanted to move like throughout my early adult life. I wanted to move to the Chicagoland area, not the city, but like the suburbs. But now I love Madison. I don't love the weather, but I love Madison because it's a quick drive. It's 2 hours to Chicago. If it's on a Friday afternoon, might be closer to 3 hours. Let's see. John says both teams shared the same sideline. Favre was in his first year in starting because Magic Man was injured. Don Makowski. Yes, Don Makowski. Bears were winning that game, if I recall. Okay, now I have the right room. There's Ed. What's up? Small town USA. There you go, Herman. And I love visiting. Like, would I ever move back to a small town? No. But I love going back home. My mom still lives in the house that I grew up in most of my life, and I enjoy going back for a weekend. But that's enough. That's good enough for me. John says someday they'll make our pets Wi-Fi hotspots. Imagine having amazing signal because your cat is napping right next to you. Hey, you already put chips. You implant chips for the vet. Make it a Wi-Fi booster. I like it. Good idea. Jenny says, me and Herman live in such small towns. We don't take the keys out of our trucks ever. I go to the post office and leave the truck running. I used to do that. Now I don't. No longer do that. This is turning into a John Mellencamp song, right? Rich says, even moving from the suburbs in New Jersey to Dallas was a big shock. I lived near a farm after being in the city. So glad that happened. Rich prefers John Cougar. Diego, I was headed for something bad. Okay. That 70s show, Rich is typing like his Novocaine is still in effect. Rich, hopefully the dentist went well yesterday. So the reason why there was another chat going on was because my internet froze up. Surprise, surprise. So I had to reconnect, start a new stream, and I went upstairs and I'm like, dang it, I didn't do this yesterday. I need to go adjust the router. So I went upstairs, and remember, I mentioned we had the built-ins put in. That's where we had before we had a couple shelving units next to the TV, and that's where the router was. And before I'd like adjusted the antennae, whatever it is, and that helped fix the problem for a period back several months ago. So I go up and like just kind of not realizing, oh yeah, we've got the built-ins now. Where's the router? It's inside the cabinet. So before it was just like in an open shelf. So, but these are wood, so it's not like it's concrete like down here in the concrete jungle. So I opened up the door. I opened up the cabinet door, the shelf door, and it's just like literally everything was just tossed in there. Like there's like wires, like there's a pile of wires on top of the router. The antennas, there's 3 antennas out of the router. They're all flat with cords over them. I'm like, what in the hell? And I've been living with this for like 2-3 weeks. I think they've been in. When did my internet start sucking again? About 2-3 weeks ago. So I put the cords off on the side. I had pulled the router to where it wasn't jammed up next to the modem or whatever the other thing was. I think it's the modem. Adjusted the antennas, and it looks like, I mean, my signal down on my little toolbar here went from one little bar to now one, two, three, almost full strength here in the concrete card jungle. So that's what was going on with my internet. So Zach, what's up? I don't think I'm going to need that powerful booster router. It might help, but we'll see. We'll see if my connection continues to be stable. So far, so good. 15 minutes in. Let's see. The dentist was fine after insurance. It was 3,700. Ouch. Yeah, that does hurt. Oof. Um, Glad you're okay. Your next steak is on me. I could have used an infusion of eBay managed payments yesterday. Some of you will get that reference. Let's see. Big Z. I can see why people harp on Bo's eBay store with his bait and switch on the 2 live shows. There you go. There you go. Yeah. Come see me. Oh, nope. Nope. Bait and switch. Going to the other stream. So I really don't have anything to talk about this morning. That gave me about 15 minutes worth of stuff to talk about. I did play trivia last night. Bo put us in the timeout room. I did play trivia last. It was just me and my buddy Zach, just a 2-man team at trivia. One of my other friends couldn't make it. The other guys they're on a trivia timeout lately. So just 2 of us went to a new trivia place. It's called Mr. Brews, which it's just 5 minutes down the road for me. It's a great little, I think it's a regional chain here, at least in Wisconsin, at least in the Madison area. Good burgers, a huge beer menu, and then trivia last night. So I want to share. I want to ask the room. This was the final trivia, and I got it. Somehow I got it right. It's one of those things that you'd never. It's trivia, and that's why it's trivial. It's one of those things that you'd never really think of, but once you like hear it for the first time, it kind of sticks somewhere in the back of your memory. And on a random Tuesday night in Wisconsin, it comes to the forefront, and you remember the answer to this trivia question. So it was actually, and I dislike, usually the trivia final question is kind of like, here's 4 events, put them in order, and they're pretty tough. Like, what are the ages earliest to oldest of these lead singers of a band, and some of them are like deceiving, like like Mick Jagger is, up there in age. And so there's other guys that are, around the age. So it can be tricky, and I enjoy it. It's fun to think about it. But I don't like when it's just like, okay, you've got one answer, turn it in. Because if you're behind, usually we're playing from behind. Usually we play with 2 to 3 or 4 players on our team, where the other teams have like at least 4 and sometimes 8 to 12 players, because you can have as many as you want. There's no minimum, no maximum. I'm just scanning the chat as I talk, and I see Keith Richards will outlive us all. Ain't that the truth? I've tried to read his book a couple times, and I just can't get into it for whatever reason. And I'm not giving it enough of a chance. Like, I'm only reading like the first few pages, but I'm not much of a biography or autobiography reader. I'm more of a true crime and a crime fiction. Like, I've been reading the Jack Reacher novels lately. So the trivia question, speaking of books, the trivia question was about books, and it was a combination. So you're looking for a name, and we did have 6 options to choose from. I forgot the 6th, so I have 5. So for you in the chat, it's one less that you have to think about. So it's the first name of the creator of the Dewey Decimal System. So the first name of the Dewey Decimal System, and who shares a name, the last name of an author of an 1846 book. So the last name of an author from an 1846 book, and it's the first name of the Dewey Decimal System. and I'll give you options. It's multiple choice. So I have it was they actually gave us 6, but I forgot the sixth one. So, which obviously was the incorrect one of the incorrect answers. So the choices are Kipling, Verne, Melville, Fitzgerald, or Blake. So those are the 5 options. Kipling, Verne, Melville, Blake, Fitzgerald. It's the first name of the Dewey Decimal System creator, and it's the last name of an author of an 1846 book. So I'm going to go to the chat while you think about that. Don't Google it. Don't Google it. Let's see. We all had a good conversation amongst ourselves. It would have been great if it happened the day he was announcing expanding Madison Card Show to 2 rooms. I watched a YouTube live show earlier today with the Rittenhouse owner, was able to ask some questions. Oh, that's cool. What channel was that on? Because I think I saw either a tweet or I saw it on YouTube pop up. Maybe I'm subscribing to that channel. I don't know, but I did see something about that. John says, have a great day. I'm off to McCormick Place to have my soul drained. Good luck. Have fun. Rittenhouse does good cards. By the way, Keith Richards will outlive us all. Now I have to stay for trivia. Sad news about Mark Lanigan. I'm not sure I know who Mark Lanigan is. Bios and histories are my favorite things to read. Let's see. Jenny's eBay store, SJS. Jenny, I think you have a wrench. You can put your link to your eBay store in here. Rich says, my instinctive guess is George. Zach says Thomas. Okay, so here we go. Here's some answers. John says, I'm a nerd, Melville. Dan says Verne. Zach says Wander. I get that. John says Melville or Wander. Blake, since I don't know any books in 1846, the one that interviewed George last week. Guess what? We have the correct answer. Nobody guessed Kipling, so you're correct. It's not Kipling. Let's see. Dan guessed Verne. Blake guessed? Rich guessed Blake. That is incorrect. Let's see. Fitzgerald is not correct, and I don't think anybody put Fitzgerald. Verne, not correct. So that leaves us with 1. Yes, John, you are correct. Melville, Herman Melville. And he wrote, it was an 1846 book. I'm not sure which one. They gave the name of the book. It wasn't Moby Dick. And I like, my friend says, I think it's, and I don't know what he might have said Verne. And that was like that was my first. Usually you go with your gut, especially when you don't know for sure. And I'm thinking Verne, but then the more I think about it, I was like, I think it's Melville. And my buddy's like, Melville? Who would name their kid Melville? And I'm like, after the author. Remember, the Dewey Decimal System was probably created, and I don't know, I didn't double check when I got home, but I'm assuming the Dewey Decimal System was created sometime in the early 20th century, and the book was published in 1846. The Dewey Decimal System more than likely was created after 1846, and so whoever created it was likely named after the author, even though I think any of these authors were from that era, but for some reason Melville, and it was Melville Dewey created the Dewey Decimal System. Mark Lanigan, lead singer of the Screaming Trees. Oh man, so what happened? I'm gonna Google. I wasn't a big Screaming Trees fan, but I love that era of music. I love the grunge. Now I'm trying to think of what. So he passed away at age 57. Man, what? Let's see. Screaming Trees. What were some of the Screaming Trees? And the Screaming Trees is one of the bands where I can't think of their songs, but once I hear them, I'm like, oh, that's the Screaming Trees. Let's see. Oh, Nearly Lost You. Oh my God, I love that song. Yeah, so that's the type. Yeah, they were in that era where I have no idea. Some of the bands like Screaming Trees, Who else was in that? The Pixies. I love some of the Pixies songs. And it's like, oh, I didn't realize they sung. Yeah, I Nearly Lost You. That's actually a song that I tune in on like Spotify. I actually seek out to listen. John says the 1846 book was Typee. It was his first book. Okay, okay. Lead singer of Procol Harum also passed away yesterday. Oh man. I'll post my Facebook songs of Procol in a bit. Procol Harum. Did they do like Whiter Shade of Gray? Nearly Lost You was a hit. Yeah, that was a great song. Procol Harum. I know at least Procol Harum. It's one of those where it's like, oh yeah, of course. Procol Harum sings A Whiter Shade of Pale. Whiter Shade of Pale was their big hit. And I probably know some of their other songs, but just not. That's the one that comes to mind first. Pale, yeah. So hobby talk. It wasn't much hobby talk today, unless your hobby is Wi-Fi connection, books, and in Procol Harum / Screaming Trees. They were like Mother Love Bone. Yes, Mother Love Bone. They only had 3 top 40 singles. Procol Harum. Okay. Yeah, Mother Love Bone was great. I liked some of that, and then Lane Staley had a band, Mad Season, that did one. They had one album. That's a great album. And then of course some of the members of there was there was Mother Love Bone, and then there was gosh, I'm completely what in the heck was that? It was like a super group with some of the Pearl Jam members. They had a big hit, and I can't remember what the name or the song. Oh, this is driving me crazy. And as soon as I see it, I'm going to be like, oh, dang it, I knew that. Let's see. Oh, wait, I typed in the wrong search. Pearl Jam supergroup. Temple of the Dog. Temple of the Dog. Temple of the Dog. That's the one I was thinking of. Mad Season was great. That's a push play walk. That album is a push play walk away. Cardboard Culture. Thank you. That's the episode with the Rittenhouse owner. Cardboard Culture. White Sox second baseman Julio Cruz passed away yesterday. Random idea. eBay should buy ComC, and then you could send them your cards, and then they would list them, sell them, and ship them for you. What do you think? Well, they already, and Rich can correct me, ComC has a, like all of the ComC cards, at least at one time, are on eBay. So they're on eBay. So there's like an agreement, or there was an agreement between ComC and eBay. So ComC cards are on eBay. And I think you may have to opt in through ComC. By the way, Mike Summer was Rich. Mike Summer was really selling me not all. Okay, so is it an opt-in? Is that how it works? You can opt in, and maybe there's a small fee if you want your cards listed on eBay, but whatever eBay allows us to have. Interesting. Okay. Mike Summer was pushing me hard on the benefits of ComC, so I'm considering it, because here's where I would, because I can list. I'm super efficient at listing. I can list hundreds of cards a day, but you can specifically say for auctions. Gotcha. Okay. No more opting in. It's automatic. Okay. But ComC, what ComC would help me with is like the Chrome and Prism cards, because I can't scan those through the scanner. I can, but it doesn't scan well through the scanner, because of the thickness. It just doesn't work. It does and it doesn't. So I just don't do those. So a lot of my Chrome and Prism, especially when it gets into color, those are a couple bucks. Those could sell for a couple bucks. So it might be worth it to send off to ComC. And that way I'm not like, what do I do as soon as I get off here? I spend hours shipping. And so I don't have to worry about that. So that's something that I am considering. On eBay, I wonder if the ComC cards ship fast. I don't know. Um, that I don't know. So that's about all I had for today, right at 30 minutes. I use my phone camera for Chrome, and I do that as well. Um, that's one thing. It's one shipping. Um, I do use my phone camera for the most part on those types of cards. And then if it's a higher dollar card, no matter if it's Chrome or not, I put them in the light box and then use my camera. I have the Scan Snap, the Fujitsu Scan Snap, the overhead scanner, and I've used that. I can scan those. It's pretty quick. But a lot of times it's quicker for me to use my phone, especially if I don't want to sit at the desk. I can list, watching a Netflix show that I'm not really paying attention to. I can just list it on my couch and use my phone, and I'm pretty quick by doing that. We have to follow eBay regulations on shipping because of our volume. We may get an extra day or two, but not weeks. Oh yeah, that's a great point. Ed, you too. Thanks for tuning in. Um, I've got a missed call from a potential dealer for this week's show. I'm nearly sold out at 110 tables. Got a few left. Madison Card Show this Saturday, 9 to 3 at the Sheraton Hotel, John Nolan Drive. We're going to be on 2 floors, 2 ballrooms, 1 mezzanine. Going to be an awesome show. I did make the decision yesterday. I do have some vendors within the I call it the main. It's the bigger ballroom. It's the main ballroom because that's where the show's been since it started. Um, I've got a couple vendors that wanted tables inside that room. Um, my mom is coming up to help so she can watch my table so I can bounce between floors and between rooms. So I am going to take tables downstairs. That also allows me, if I have an empty table, I can use a third table for my own stuff because right now I have my stuff penciled in for 2 tables. Uh, but obviously there's a demand for tables within the bigger ballroom. So I'm going to take my stuff to the lower ballroom, which has 40 or 30 capacity for 30 tables. I'll put my stuff out there, and then I'll be able to, since my mom's going to help out, I'll be able to bounce back and forth and be in both rooms. So that's where we're at. So it's going to be a fun show. And our eBay is getting back to where it should be. Awesome rating, good deal. Have a great day, you too, John. That's gonna wrap it up. Thanks for tuning in. Apologies for the delay in the secondary link this morning, but it's all for good because I think I made it the entire 33 minutes this morning without a spinning wheel. I didn't see any complaints in the chat. I didn't have the message pop up on my screen. So hopefully I've figured out the long standing issue with my crappy Wi-Fi. So have a great day, and we'll be back and talk tomorrow.